a lot, our keys are lost. Was a lot, our keys are lost. I'm waking up beer. Well, I'm not fussed, no, I've had a
good night. The cheap drinks, the good friends, the bright lights. I've been out here living my nightlife. The whole time you haven't crossed my mind. And my friends said you weren't the right type. And you've made it pretty clear that right. Tomorrow's headspins be alright. Cause I'm starting a new chapter. I've had enough, yeah, I've been enough. Yeah, I've had enough, I've had enough. Yeah, I've been enough. Yeah, I've had you, I've had enough.
Welcome back to the European Ultimate Championships here in Hungary. Things heating up in this men's Pool C. It is crunch time, folks. We have Ireland going up against Denmark, two teams undefeated in this division. It's going to be an exciting game, folks. Liam Grant alongside Ravi Vasudevan. Ravi, are you looking forward to this game?
Looking very forward to this game. We got the Eurozone crew on this one. These two teams looking to take that first place in their pool to give them an easier go of it in the power pool stages. Like you said, they're both undefeated right now. Denmark has beaten Poland 15-7, Spain 15-12, and Belgium 15-12. Ireland, on the other hand, beat Poland 15-1, beat Spain 15-5, but then beat Belgium 14-13. So in 2 out of 3 of those games, Ireland had much better score results. 1 out of 3, Denmark did. So these two teams are looking very close as it stands right now.
Yeah, a bit of a spicy game yesterday against Belgium. I think they got a spirit score of 7 from Belgium. The Irish was actually, I think we were having a chat about it last night. They said there was one man in particular that was maybe didn't have the best spirit for Ireland. They were having some controversy with. Both of us jumped to the conclusion that it was Niall McCarthy, but I can confirm it was not Niall McCarthy.
Oh.
It was in fact Podge Sweeney taking that mental for the Pelt team. That's what he said to me anyway. I think Niall McCarthy only had 1 turnover so far in this event and has been, some might say, somewhat spirited. And now we see the Irish team coming down on offense, looking to get things going. Stephen Jones, Robbie Brennan, the man now, living in Vancouver, playing with Furious George. Spent some time in Korea as well. Shoots to Freddie Rogers in the end zone. Great footwork from the young man. That is a quick offensive point going downwind for the Irish.
Great stuff there so far, jamming it up that jam hole all the way up the sideline. Things are getting very gusty out here on field 2. Wind blowing a bit away from the camera and a bit downwind at this moment towards the Irish side, I would say. Though it's changing and swirling throughout the point, so that will be something teams will have to adapt to.
Freddie Rogers with the goal there. A man who spent some time and the assist there, I think it was Robbie Brennan. A man who said spent some time in Korea. A world traveler himself. And in his younger days wasn't always selected by Irish national teams, then moved over to Vancouver and got straight onto the Furious George side, which was a big landmark for him. And now we see Conor Hogan going to pull upwind. We saw the Czech side and Israeli side really struggle to get pulls past the brick mark in the previous round. Wind very strong going right to left on this turf field. One thing you know about this turf field, it is very flat. Denmark actually the 2nd flattest nation on the planet. Do you want to hazard a guess? What is the flattest country in the world?
The Netherlands.
It is not the Netherlands. Netherlands are number 3. Ravi, I was baiting you for that one. Just as Denmark bait this to the end zone. That is a great goal. Number 20, Andres Knudsen, considered the best Danish deep player. At least that's what Tobias Graham Postgard told me on the sideline earlier. Going against Niall McCarthy there and just burns him to the end zone.
Yes, Danish side has a very good offensive line. I was able to see them earlier this season at Bologna Invite. There, I remember the game, particularly against Germany. I think they were broken once against a very strong German defense. Danish side's D-line struggled to get breaks that tournament, but their O-line was extremely strong, made up a lot of Ragnarok and KFK players.
Yeah, so go back to my point there. The flattest country in the world is actually the Maldives, Ravi, which may not exist for that much longer considering how global warming and sea level rise is going. So may not be too long before Denmark take that mantle off them. Yeah, but the Maldives may be underwater at some point, but it's the fact that the Danes tied this game up 1-1. And it was the Danish side who got the better of Ireland at Bologna Invite, Ravi. You were at that tournament.
Yeah, I was told that the score was about 11-8, a bit of 3-point win there by the Danes. Irish weren't really in full force in that tournament, missing a few of their players, but Ireland have looked a lot better the rest of the season. I think a lot of them would be favoring them slightly in this game, but Denmark not a team to count out at any point.
And we see a big wall from this great Dane side, trying to stop these Irish Wolfhounds. Podge Sweeney working with Feely, two men who love to play against his own. Soupy Normster, the rebel man, previously of Pelt Ultimate, spent some time at the University of Limerick.
A little bit of discussion here. I'm not sure exactly what the call is, maybe a pick. I thought the Irish love their hand signals, Liam. What's going on out there?
I don't know. It's no longer in trend, Ravi. They've gone the other way. Now that's popular, they're going to spin back and just stop doing them. I did see handsome Niall McCartney on the far sideline signaling for the pick as the Danes have just transitioned to a match defense. Ireland now in their vertical stack.
Wind really picking up here. So far hasn't deterred any of these throws, but
Ferdy Rogers and Podge Sweeney have just been so good for this Irish team all tournament long. Now look for the quick pop, the front corner. Soupy Normster can't get free. And again, good patient offense. Quick give go. Ferdy Rogers, that's the second goal of the game. Podge Sweeney with the assist. Nice little punch spike. And yeah, no turnovers so far in this game.
Both teams playing really well in the wind, getting the spin on that disc, not causing any issues. You see here the Danish score 1 point ago.
Let's see if the Irish team can at least make Denmark take a few more passes than their last offensive points. That was a little too easy.
I did like that Danish look now, putting up that wall, trying to make Ireland throw a few more. They kind of melted out of it a little quicker than I think they needed to. They probably just had a set for doing it a certain number of passes and then went out of it. But I think they were slowing Ireland down and maybe could have been a bit favored to throw that one for a bit longer, try and force a lot of swings, and maybe one of these discs will hit the ground.
So this Irish men's team getting a narrow victory over Belgium in the men's division, but in the women's division, Ireland women kind of stomped the Belgian women. Ravi,
at the beginning, actually, Belgium came back and made it a very tight one in the end. I believe it was a much closer affair near the end of the game than it was at the beginning.
I'm talking about the women's division.
Yeah, I'm talking about the women's division.
It was 15-6 it finished.
Oh, I'm thinking of Belgium versus Finland. Sorry. Belgium has had some comebacks, and Belgium versus Switzerland. That was the one that actually Belgium didn't come back from. But Belgium has had, on the women's side, a few bad first halves with a good second half. I think Ireland women, that was the match where they weren't able to do that.
Oh, and a drop from the Danes. A gift for the Irish.
Jakobsen not able to hold on to that one.
And that is our first turnover of the game. Let's see if Ireland can make something of it. Christy Tinkler picking up the disc. Looking for handsome Niall, who ends up underthrowing Kirkoslow, but reads it well. And now Roy Brennan puts that one out to Enda Kelleher. That's a goal and a break for the Irish going upwind. Enda Kelleher. Take a bow, son.
Good stuff there from the Irish, putting that one long. That was kind of the deepest throw we've seen out of them. Maybe the D-line liking to shoot it a bit more in this wind. Great throw. That's a difficult, bladey throw to make in this wind, and read perfectly. The Irish answer with their first break, 3-1.
Robbie Brennan picking up his second assist of the game. I think something's different with this Irish side we haven't seen in the years gone by. You saw Robbie Brennan playing an O point and playing a D point. That's because everyone on this Irish team is good at defense, and that's something they decided, hey, we're going to bring over a bunch of athletes to this tournament. So if we turn over on offense, we always have go for defense. There's no weak link. We can trust everyone to shut down their player. So it's allowed them to kind of allow everyone play offense and defense. They've good rotation a lot of the time.
So do they not actually have strict O and D lines, or do they still stick with that to start off?
It seems pretty strict in the handlers in that it's Podge Sweeney, Freddie Rogers, Matthew Feely, but I saw him yesterday, the O-line got broken. They pretty much brought on a whole fresh bunch of cutters to mix it up. So yeah, they seem a little bit loose in the lines, which I think is important. You don't want too much structure in case the D-line goes on a run or if the O-line goes on a run. Now we see Niall McCarthy with the pull. They got that upwind break, so big opportunity to continue with the downwind. That pull in the back of the end zone. And his own look from the Irish. Three men in the back for Denmark. Struggling to get upfield. Jakobsen in the backfield, one of the coaches for Ragnarok.
Very good zone here from the Irish. The Danes throwing back and forth as they finally find their way through and break things open here.
And as Loritz, the Estonian man, now playing with KFK in Copenhagen.
One of the stronger players on that side. Danes are happy to have him here on this team.
Yeah, I remember him playing for, I think it was Sexy Legs at the Estonian mixed team.
Yeah, they played at Lecco 2014. I had the displeasure of losing to them in pool play back at that tournament.
Oh, and a huge layup block. Owen Binchy putting his body on the line.
So now Ireland with a chance to take a second break in a row as this zone works out for them.
Niall McCarthy looking for the inside break, puts one high up in the air and is swept up by the Danes. So going on what we told me yesterday, that is the second turnover of the tournament. And there's a call on the field.
So did he tell you that, or did somebody on his team tell you that?
He told me that, so okay. I don't know if I can quite believe him.
So do you think he would call that his turnover?
That was definitely his turnover.
No, we say that's his turnover, but maybe he had some throws like that he wouldn't consider his turnover, and there was a receiver error.
No, I think he has to take that one.
He's going to own that one?
I think he'll own that one.
So he's got two at least now.
Yeah. So they set up this zone again. I'm starting to think that maybe this wind will favor the Irish just for this zone defense. Probably a little bit taller, the Danes.
Does Ireland have a lot of wind?
Sure does. We see that beautiful over-the-top hammer.
Borson able to reel this one in. You had a drop earlier in the last point.
Now back to Loretz. Hits Jakobsen upfield. Just 1 yard outside the end zone now. Tries for the pop pass, but good recovery defense from Ireland, but they can't stop that one. And they hold upwind. It was a big opportunity for Ireland to get that downwind break.
Denmark able to steady the ship and break through that zone with a big hammer. That's showing, I think both these countries have a lot of wind actually, so maybe these conditions, this is probably the ideal set of teams we could have here, as even in this wind, they have those over-the-top throws, able to break this thing open.
You see that just easy pop pass. Cummins, Jakobsen. The Irish defense scampering back to protect the end zone, but nobody that close to the disc.
So 3-2 here, the score. Denmark struggling a little bit with that zone, but managing to steady it and punch in the hold. Ireland still up one break here. I would expect Denmark to come out in some kind of junkie zone look. And if I were them, I think I would favor trying to stay in it for a bit longer than they did last time, but we'll see what the Danish coach decides on this next point.
So what happened to the Danish mixed team in the recent events, Ravi? Can you just give us
Yeah, so yesterday they shocked the world. There's a nice mixed recap up on UltiWorld. You can read about what happened there. They beat the Russians by 5 in a game that had more than I can talk about in terms of storylines here. Go read the story on UltiWorld for all the details. Then, because of that, Russia had beaten Germany by 3. So all Denmark Mixed had to do was lose to Germany today by 7 or less. And they ended up losing 15-6. So they didn't able to punch their ticket into the power pools, and now Denmark will be headed down with the plebes in the lower pools.
So as your suggestion, Ravi, Ireland, an offense here with the Danes playing his own defense.
So far, Ireland not able to really punch through the zone. Bit of contact there between the two players.
Derek Keller on the disc now with his mighty big beard. Great musician as well. Plays the flute and the pipes.
Yeah, it was in the bus coming back from one of the fields, and he played some Irish tunes for the whole bus. Everyone was getting really into it.
He's actually a former Irish whistling champion as well.
Is there an Irish whistling championship?
There sure is.
Now, what is that ranked on? Is it like just like judges, or is some kind of technical achievement you have to make there?
There's a kind of a ranking system, much like the Spirit. No, it's done how you'd rank any musical instrument. This one being the beautiful perked lips of Derek Kelleher, as Ireland taking lots of passes to progress up the field. Stephen Jones on the O-line for this point, gaining some yards. Sweeney wanted to get a little bit more as it goes to Feely.
Denmark is really doing a good job pushing them back, though. It's been maybe 30, 40 passes. Nah, that might be a bit much. Maybe 20, 30 passes. And Denmark are not even at half field yet.
Feely with the nice low flick. Cross thing. One thing you can tell about this Irish O-line, every player has such crisp, nice passes. There's a lot of experienced throwers.
I thought they picked for defense, Liam. You're saying they can also play offense? It seems a bit asking too much, isn't it?
Would seem that way, but if you look at the stat sheets in the men's division of this tournament, they're currently ranked second in terms of goal difference in games won. Only GB doing better in the division.
Even with that close game to Belgium.
Even with that close game to Belgium. I think that 15-1 annihilation of Poland to start things off them gave them a nice goal difference. But the group will come down to this head-to-head matchup. I think both of us have Ireland picked to make it to the semi-final bracket. Rabbi, no, you've Switzerland.
No, I picked Switzerland over Ireland, which is not sure I agree with that pick from what I've seen so far this week. Yes. Switzerland do have some good players and could make some problems, but when they had such a close game to Sweden yesterday that I was able to call, I don't think Sweden are quite as strong as Ireland here, so we'll see how things shape up later on in this tournament. Still a long way to go to get there. Ireland having a history, like at Windmill, of doing very well in the early stages and not quite putting it together at bracket play, so I could still see Switzerland getting a win off them later on. Bracket play is just one game, has nothing to do with your overall goal difference.
This coming in with Freddie Rogers. Travel was called on him.
Denmark still really struggling here against this zone. It's been, what, like 2-3 minutes, and they've really not moved forward at all. Back on their defending brick markers. Now they seem to get things going. But Denmark really doing a great job of forcing these passes. And you have to imagine one of them in this win is going to go errant at some point.
Yeah, I'd like to see them maybe faking the overtops a little bit more, try and create some space in the middle. Everyone very, very close to this. No one really stretching it.
How comfortable are Ireland with over-the-top throws? We saw Denmark put up a big one. They play a lot of indoors, get used to them. Is it a throw that's generally encouraged in Irish Ultimate, or do you usually not see it as much?
No, it's definitely something I think the likes of Sweeney, Freddie, Derek Keller on the disc now that have those big throws in the arsenal, but want to maybe try and keep things a little safer. And that disc bobbling in the air, well caught by Feely. Man who's now moved to UK. Tried out for Clapham, tried out for Chevron. Don't think made either squad, which I was really surprised about. I gave out to the Chevy lads for not picking them.
It's going to give him a lot more motivation if they match up against GB. We always know Ireland versus GB, a great matchup. And maybe it's a bit of that passion and feelings of being looked over that fuel these Irishmen getting cut from those teams.
And now, like, this point has gone a long time. We're not counting passes, but if we did, we'd be running out of time. And now a turnover. And Looks like Denmark might be calling a timeout.
Jonas Skovgaard there, getting his paw in on that disc. Like I said, after 50, 60 passes, eventually one of them's Denmark's going to get a hand on or is going to go astray. And great strategy there with Denmark staying in the zone for full point. The wind is really picking up down here. From what I understood, I haven't had too many games on this pitch, but it seems like there's a lot more wind here as it seems to be a bit more exposed than the rest of the pitches. So maybe both teams not quite used to that yet. But Denmark finally getting that turn as they try to get this break back.
Yeah, I think just a little too casual there. They've been given that pass kind of easily so many times that they're just a bit casual with it and ended up in a turnover. I'd like to see Ireland just even faking more over the top, faking the deep shot might allow for more space in the middle. But at the moment, they're just working through the handlers and allowed kind of Denmark to come in and smother them.
You show off your shirt you're wearing here as you're on camera.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Denmark shirt, which I got from Schwerstutz 4 years ago. I was playing on this Denmark Open team back then, but now has transitioned to the mixed division. I think along with Mads Jensen, 2 players now playing mixed, who had a sensational game against Russia yesterday.
Not putting it quite together against Germany today, though, as they lose 15-6, we mentioned earlier. 9-point gap. They just had to not lose by more than 7, Liam.
That was it.
Do you think they went into that game with that mentality? I mean, I wonder if they were, because I'm guessing they probably tightened up lines a lot in the game against Russia. Maybe they wanted to give some other players some more playing time, and eventually Germany just went away with it. I have no idea how the game actually went. Wasn't able to watch any. Hope that Peter Jessa, our Ulti-World Mixed reporter, will give us a rundown of what actually happened there, because that's quite a shock. I mean, I think Germany favored to win that game, probably, but not 15-6.
There's some fantastic Irish names there. That's the whole Irish roster.
Is that the Irish women's team or the mixed team?
That was not an Irish team from anywhere, I can tell you that. But so Ireland coming out on defense. Denmark looking to get that break back.
Ireland opting not to go into a zone. You'd think after a timeout like this, that would give them a chance to set something, but Ireland looks like they're coming in on match. And Denmark going to start things off in just a plain vertical stack. Their dump about 7-8 meters directly behind the disc, maybe trying to figure out where the force is going to be before he positions himself. Or maybe that's just where they position themselves. There's just one straight line of players.
Loretz Hemetslev cutting from the back of the stack, gets that first pass. The man you may have seen playing last year with Cos Bologna had a great stint on their own line, but playing some D-line here for Denmark. We'll see if this Irish O-line can get the disc back.
What do you think about that, Liam? I think a lot of people would say that Kuz Lafota might be a stronger side than this Danish men's team. And here Hemetslev is on the D-line, whereas Bologna, he got a spot on the O-line.
Well, sometimes it's nice to have one strong cutter to open up the field. We see a vagrant throw out the back corner, not connecting there. Two Danish player.
Jonas Skovgaard, the man who got the D, giving the disc back. Skovgaard giveth, Skovgaard taketh away.
So, unsurprisingly, I think the Danes are going to come back out in that zone now, coming from their own front corner, Ireland. Took them about 10 minutes to get to halfway.
What do you think they can do differently to adapt here? It's got to open things up either by swinging it around quicker. They don't really have a continue off of that swing, though. They're going laterally all the way, but nobody is there when the cup is out of position.
I think they got to stretch out the zone more. We see Cleary and Jones in the backfield just kind of hanging around the deep, not really making them move, not really testing them. Doesn't even seem like they want the disc over the top. And I think they have to threaten that. Put that threat in there. Because I think if you even fake it or make it a deep cut, you might create space for someone else.
Irish doing a bit of kind of four-handler zone offense here.
And there we see a shot to Jones. Oh, under tight pressure, and it should be an easy goal. Oh, but it's hanging up in the air. Flinner underneath it, and a great grab. Killian Flynn, famous for his posts in the Facebook group, Ultimate Players in Europe, and also for big grabs like that.
What a play there by the Irishman. Actually, I want to see a replay on the pass around here because I think he might have had his foot on the line when he caught the disc. No, he was in. Stepped over the line after the catch. He felt so bad. Look at him go down in dismay after that.
Now he can toss it up to Flinner. He's a great man, playing with Ranelagh. He's also played with Pelt at ECF. Occasionally we take one or two of the Ranelagh boys with us.
So Ireland hold on to their lead 4-2 now. Up 2 points, still up 1 break. I do like that Danish zone look, and finally it took Kelleher with that around shot to finally open things up. Ireland really struggling there. I expect to see that zone coming out more and more from the Danes.
Yeah, I think Darragh Kelleher is the man I want taking that shot, because it's going to be a risky shot, going over the zone, going around the zone. But you see there, once they got around it, it was open field for them. The Danes really smothering around the disc, which is something that I think they have some of the best players in the world, Pod Sweeney, Feely, at playing that small ball, but they're playing almost 3 against 6 in a very small area. Danes want them to try and throw over the top. And they got to be aggressive, and they got to take those shots. And a nice pull from the Irish, lands and rolls out the back of the end zone, so it'll be taken from the front.
It looks to me that the Irish are not opting for a zone. Just going into match defense, at least on the cutters. They might sag off the handlers a bit here, but maybe they're just deciding to play honest man-to-man here.
Oh, and the first pass goes awry, and Rob Holland sweeps it up. Rogers, and that is Christy Tinkler. Pops it to Conor Hogan. Man with some experience playing with Clapham, or at least videoing them. And now we see Christy Tinkler popping one to the back of the end zone. Kieran Costello, his first time playing with the Irish men's team, gets a goal in a crucial game. And that is the second break for the Irish.
5-2 the score. They are running away a little bit with this, and Denmark have taken a timeout. See there, I was questioning the Irish decision to not come out in a zone here, but maybe Denmark was expecting the zone, and it kind of took them out of, you know, where their headspace was coming into this point. Just mixing up the mental space of the Danes there might be what caused that early errant pass.
So that was Owen Binchy with the assist, hitting Kieran Costello, one of the few XBI players on this Irish men's team. And we see this every time there's a timeout. Ireland men scamper for shade. They've head to the under the far grandstand. The Danes staying on the field. I have to say the Irish men's umbrella game is on point.
Why is it on point? That's just one.
Okay, maybe not right now.
Umbrella.
I was hanging out with them yesterday when they were, I guess they're already in the shade. They don't necessarily need umbrellas, but when they've stayed on the field, usually they have 10 or 12 umbrellas or so, making a kind of a tetrahedral dome in the middle of the field. You see some of the Danish fans not too pumped up right now.
It's probably a lot of the Danish mixed team out there. Seeing a bit of a similar start from their men's team's compatriots here. 5-2 score.
It's been a rough old morning for the Danes.
Again, this game decides who wins this pool. If I can look at how that will maybe rank things out. They're in Pool MC, so the first place of Pool MC will join Great Britain and Russia. Sorry, first place of Pool MC will join Germany and Austria. And I believe it would be Switzerland. And the winner of this game, the loser of this game, sorry, will be joining Russia, France, and Great Britain. So pick your poison there.
Yeah, I think we have a tentative schedule over. We might be streaming the Irish men against Switzerland later if Ireland men win here, and also the Denmark men later against France, I think.
Yeah, so I think that France and Switzerland is already decided, and depends who wins or who loses here as to which one of those matchups will be streamed later on today. Power pool games in the men's division here. European Ultimate Championships. Talking a bit more about the men's division, we had the big shock yesterday, which was Russia beating Italy. I think the score was 15-10 in the end. Great game. Definitely go watch that one back on Fancy. It's worth the subscription price alone. Fantastic stuff from the Russians. They really put it on that game, and Italy just a little bit out of sorts. we'll see how they progress throughout this tournament, as I don't think many people predicted Russia to be a team to go really far, but they've punched their ticket into power pools.
Icegear picks it up for Denmark and they get things rolling. A bit of a different zone here from the Irish. I think they almost have an upwind, downwind zone. A shot to the middle. Danes having much better time playing against the zone than they did against the match defense in the last point. Looks like there might be a transition call from the Irish.
They don't seem to have transitioned to out of zone.
No, they did not transition there. There was definitely some call on the field, but not a lot of pressure from that D-line in that particular point. A lot better from the Danes.
So Borsen Jakobsen there with the score, but just great dinking and diving throughout this zone. Never really took a big shot, never really had to. Just kind of give, go moves, quick passing. I like that little high release pop. Difficult throw.
Kasper Borsen, one of the standout players for this O-line. I believe plays with KFK. Am I right in saying I've still not defeated Ragnarok in the Danish National Championships?
I believe so. I think that I believe they've lost on Universe a few times in the last few years. Someone can confirm with us on that. I think we'll try to check Ultiworld live chat, the YouTube live chat from time to time. Has KFK beaten Ragnarok? Here we see, I think that's the actual Irish men's team roster now on the screen.
Yeah, a lot of young players on this side. We have the brothers Enda and Dara Kelleher representing. The North Dublin boys, we see Dara playing offense, Enda playing defense. And it will be Feely to pick up this disc. It looks like it's a person defense, and Feely lashes one deep to Tyke Deavy, who gets up huge and a great goal. That's how you play offense, one pass.
Great stuff there from the Irish. Just no fear about this win. That big shot working out for them. They go up 6-2.
Yeah, quick shot to the end zone. Deavy, a tyrant downfield. A man who played his college ultimate with DIT. And I'm glad to see him getting this opportunity. Maybe a little underrated for the last year or two in Irish Ultimate. He was always an athlete. I think he played under 23s in London a few years ago, but he's come onto the O-line, which would have surprised many people, but he's been fantastic out there. Just does the simple things right, has a lot of ups. And that assist coming from Matthew Feely, who's kind of a player coach for this team. Also need a shout out to big man Mark Fanning, who's taking on a coaching role as well. And I don't think he was picked for the team, which I was shocked at, considering how short this Irish men's team is. They had a recent man pull out, Kevin Norton, who plays for Pony. Pulled out last minute. I think he had an injury and just decided not to come.
Is he actually Irish, or was that one of these Irish community member type of situations?
I think he may have an Irish passport. Or
He may have.
We'll squeeze him in anyway. Has represented Ireland, the Irish men's beach team, who came 5th in the world.
Squeeze him in this year, because if he doesn't have a passport next year,
No.
that's not going to fly, as rules have changed.
I think he may be entitled to citizenship. We'll swing it for him. Used to be called the plastic paddies, was what they used to call them in the Irish men's soccer team. Used to be pretty much entirely English people with Irish grannies. Even a few of them.
We see there the Danish player telling Al McCarthy, "You're too far away from me to stall."
I'm not sure if that's, I think that's within 3 meters. I think we're gonna get our measuring tape here.
Official measuring tape.
I think that's 3 meters. What's your guess on that, Ravi?
Looks like it's going to be on the border. You think Al McCarthy's the type of player that really can get a good feel for 3 meters? Think he knows his meters?
Very familiar with the metric system. I know it's a new thing for you, Ravi. You didn't grow up with it.
Does Ireland use the metric system? Because I was confused with the UK and Ireland, how things go there.
We measure things with spuds. That's about 30 spuds away.
30 spuds?
Yeah.
And do you have the whiff diff rules translated into spuds? How many spuds do you have to be away for it to make a mark?
I think you're allowed 41 spuds.
41 spuds, so that's well within 41 if he's only 30 away.
Yeah, I agree. Now we have both.
I think we need to measure with that hat. Get those hats out there. How many hats are we?
It's coming uncontested now. This has happened quite a lot where Noel McCarthy's made a bit of a song and dance about a call and then decided he's going to uncontest it.
Well, his teammate, I think, Quentin, convinced him a little bit there.
Yeah,
oh, I think it actually was a pick called there, and I think, number 38 on the Danish side claiming, Kasper Borsen claiming, yeah, you had no shot at making a play on that disc.
I've been told KFK have won the indoor championships in Denmark.
I think they won the mixed. They also won the mixed as well. No, it was the DTU, the university team from Denmark, that won the mixed. So
we are definitely not indoors right now as the wind picks up. Strong wind coming from right to left. The Irish player is dealing with it a bit more. A few too many discussions, I think, at this point. But I think the spirit is still fine. They're well able to discuss it with each other. Most calls uncontested so far, if not all of them.
Underrated difficulty is discussions in the wind. Those voices get away from you. It's hard to hear each other.
Okay, getting high in the stall count. He's going to have to lash it. We have a height mismatch. Oh, and good pressure from Robbie Brennan. Prevents Jakobsen from getting his third goal.
It looked like Jakobsen was going to have him with the height mismatch, but Brennan getting up huge for the Irish. But this D generated by the marking defense there. I think that's from the Irish player. That shutting down the dump is what forced that throw. Maybe the Danes looking dump a little too early and then just dancing around a little bit. So now the Irish get a chance for another break to take a commanding 7-3 lead if they can work their way up the field. Denmark preparing their zone, even on their offensive line here as they come out in quite a crowded zone here. Lots of people around the disc.
Yeah, Christy Tinkler with it now. Having a hard grind. Now McCarthy is a man who's not afraid to throw over the zone. He's definitely looking downfield.
This wind maybe giving him a little bit of fear, though, as he didn't seem to...
And a foul called.
I think Niall McCartney, the other Niall, arguing that he had control of that disc. I'm going to see what we see here. I don't... it's really hard for us to see. I mean, the disc was basically blocked, but by the timing of the defense, I'd be surprised that... I would be surprised if he really had a control of that disc, but we couldn't really see it. You got the two Niles now getting involved in this discussion. Can never have too many Niles in a discussion. Or can you?
You can definitely have too many of these Niles anyway. And it's an uncontested foul. Yeah, it did seem like there was a little bit of contact. And very much in coffin corner here. The Mayo man has never won an Irish National Championships, which is very surprising. He was on Ranelagh 1, the year Ranelagh 2 won. He's had played with Pelt and left before they'd won title. He seems to be, whatever team he's on, seems to lose, unfortunately.
Well, that seems to be correlated, not mainly. It's going to happen over and over again. You got to think maybe there's some causation there.
This is true. I think it's the curse of Mayo. That's a big swing from the Danes. Have a short field. Dylan Ryan can get there. No, he can't. A great play. It's Jakobsen who does get his third goal of the game.
Good stuff there from the Danes. Not afraid to pop high-release discs in this wind. I do think, though, Ireland are up this game, 6-4 right now. I think the Danes are throwing more complicated throws in the wind more successfully. Irish are very, very conservative with their throwing right now, and that's especially going upwind is giving them a lot of problems, whereas the Danes seem to be a bit more comfortable throwing better shots. Still, the Irish are getting the better of them with their two breaks. But interesting to note, it seems that the throwing skill, just like high releases and over-the-top throws, Denmark seem to have that over the Irish, but it's not enough so far for them to take the lead.
Yeah, shout out to number 5, Michael Schmidt for Denmark, who holds the record for the fastest running of the round tower in Copenhagen. So ran up the round tower faster than anyone. Quite the achievement.
Do you think Denmark's upset about that? They've stolen the record from the Danes?
No, Michael Schmidt, the Danish man.
Oh, sorry. I thought there was an Irishman that came over and stole the record, and then maybe that would fuel the Danish players.
No, not quite. Also, Tobias Graham, postcard, sitting out this game. He said he's had a lot of shin splint issues, so he said he's not playing any games on the turf fields.
Ah. Taking a page out of GB Mixed's book.
Indeed. Sweeney to Flynn. Again, keeping that kind of high release backhand pass going downwind.
We do see Denmark going into a match defense here.
Far, and he takes claim for that turnover. Again, it's probably the other way around. You want probably Flinner hitting Devi with that one. So, a question for Robin de Suter. No outfit rules in this. You see the Irish team wearing a mixed match of shorts. Their shorts did not arrive on time.
So they should be disqualified, right?
Disqualified, yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone informed the EUF about this? It's completely unacceptable.
Yeah, that's definitely the worst thing that's happened at this tournament is the Irish men's shorts.
Actually, the French nationals, they take that really seriously. First year I played French nationals, I was wearing like warm-up pants during the first couple points, and the opponent got really angry at me that I wasn't wearing the matching kit, even though they were under my pants. It was cold out there.
So, Denmark looking to get one of these upwind breaks back. In the horizontal stack now, Hermitslev gone deep. Puts Loritz, who's losing yards at the moment, the Danish side. Ireland pushing them back. Skovgaard sends it high into the end zone. Oh, and a lot of players come climbing up, and it's Derek Keller that comes down with it.
Someone is hurt down there. That was a pack of players at the bottom.
And that is number 10, Oliver Clemenson, I believe is a Ragnarok player. And that was a bit of a hospital pass, you know, a lot of players going up in the air. Might be able to see a replay of that one. Very hard to tell who collided into who.
To me, it looked like Dara had a clean shot, but I don't know what else happened underneath that disc. Maybe Clemenson saying he wasn't able to make his jump. I think Dara was clean, but maybe
yeah, Andrew Cleary.
Clemenson's got a big body on him, so if he was prevented from making a jump on that shot, I could see an argument. But here we're going to see the replay.
Yeah, Devi goes up first. And to me, I think Dara gets that one before.
You see both the Irish players kind of sandwich Clemenson, and you could make the argument under whiff-diff rules that that play needed contact to happen in order to be made, but at this level, I think most teams are okay with that type of play, especially on a hospital pass. But we'll leave it to Clemenson to decide how to call this one.
So it's going to be a contested foul. I definitely understand both players' viewpoints, but kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card for the Danes. That was a bad throw. That was a bad throw, and they're lucky to get the disc back in many ways.
Luck of the Irish, they call it. Or the Danes. Luck of the Danish.
So Stahl is coming in on 4. Loritz. Getting high in the Stahl count. Oh, a little bobble, but kept alive. Oh, and a drop. Flinner wastes no time picking it up. Feely on the disc. So I think there's a pick call, but I don't think it's going to affect the play. So
I don't think those players had any clue if there was any type of pick call there. I think we saw there the dad backhand, that backhand to the forehand side attempted. I've seen a lot of players trying that this week. Very controversial throw there, the dad backhand. Some people saying it works out just fine. Some people saying it's an abomination of our sport. Here it gives a disc to Ireland.
Oh, and a beautiful high release backhand from Podge Sweeney. When those two players, Ferdy and Podge, have space, they're very difficult to deal with, and that's where you want Ty Devi in the front of the end zone scoring goals. Good defensive pressure from Denmark. You know, they looked a lot better. Frustrating the Irish there. Unable to work it upwind though. And we have a request from the YouTube chat to explain the new citizenship rules coming into effect next year. Ravi?
Yeah, you can actually check. There's an Ultiworld post about it. If you search for WIF-DIF rules appendix on Ultiworld, I think you'll be able to find it. I'll actually get back to you on that one. I'll try just right now with the heat. I can't remember the full rules, but I'll pull that up, and at some point later on in this broadcast, I'll give a full explanation.
Long story short,
Community member's dead.
community member's dead. See you later, community member. You've been great. We've loved you throughout the years, but you're gone. See you later. So if anyone has, been playing for a year or two and gone for 10 years, or I think some of the most famous community members, Kelly Hyland on the Irish women's team, I believe will be unable to participate for the Irish women's team again, unfortunately. I believe these rules will count for the EUC as well, Ravi?
They should count for the EUC, but we're not going to have another EUC for quite some time, so I think generally the EUC follows up with what the WIF-DIF does in terms of these rules. I don't think the EUC really has their own rule set as such, so they just generally do what the WIF-DIF does. However, there was a bit of controversy around that as the EUF decided to use the mixed gender ratio rule B at this tournament, even though February of this year, WIF-DIF has decided that all their tournaments from now on are going to use ratio rule A, which is like the kind of just alternating every 2 points gender rule. And EUF putting out a statement saying we're not going to. Before that point, the WIF-DIF rule was on national team events like the World Ultimate Guts Championship, the World Games. We're going to use ratio rule A, but for club events, we'll use ratio rule B. EUF had decided we're not going to switch our national teams to ratio rule B unless it's done across the board. So they were a bit behind finding out that WIF-DIF had actually changed it across the board. So they kept it as B for this tournament, but from now on, after this one, it's going to be ratio rule A all the way down in the mixed division.
So Ireland will have the opportunity to try and break for half here. That'll be huge for them. The Ireland women currently up 8-2 against the Czech women. Great Britain women up 5-4 against the Swiss. France men up 8-1 against Ukraine. Germany women up 8-3 against the French women. But we will switch our focus back to the game in hand as the Danes look to try and punch in this down 0 point. Another drop, much like the first point that Ireland was able to break. 2 gifts now for the Irish, and they usually capitalize on those. And just as I say that, there's a miscommunication between Doyle and Hogan. And Denmark looked to capitalize on that gift back, and a shot to the end zone, and a great read. Number 20, Andres Knudsen gets his second goal, the great Dane.
What a grab there. I thought with that disc floating up in the sky, there was going to be a lot more pressure, but Dane just went up strong with confidence. Great throw as well in this win to hang that in that space. Really trust your receiver, know your receiver, that he can box out and get that catch. Nice confident point there by the Danes.
You can see there, given a lot of time there, Iceguard to throw that disc. Hogan, after throwing the turnover, was kind of slack to get back on defense. Was kind of disappointed himself. Needed to switch back on. Allowed for that deep shot to come with no force on. And interestingly, only 2 players have actually scored for Denmark so far.
Borsen Jakobsen getting a lot of their goals and Knudsen getting the other few of them. Borsen Jakobsen also having one of those drops earlier on this point, so contributing as well as giving away a little bit. But that's the second assist also for Andreas Iceguard.
He's come to seek shade in the commentary booth, get some water on.
I was told by his team that he's the man with the numbers. I went over to ask what the score was between Ireland and Denmark at Bologna Invite, but he did not know the score, so he couldn't help me out there. Instead, he's choosing to help out his team with some great backhand hooks.
Well, Ireland with a chance now to take half, going downwind on offense. You see a decent pull going upwind, much further than a lot of the pulls we saw in the Czech-Israel game. DB with the first under. Gets the disc back to Sweeney, to it's Cleary in a little bit of traffic. And now a quick give go and a travel is being called.
They were moving pretty quick there. I think it's always a risk. Even if you don't travel on those throws sometimes, there's the risk that it's going to get called because sometimes, remember when I went to a camp that Ben Wiggins was hosting, and he said, when you play give and go offense, it's not enough to not travel. You also have to not look like you're traveling because what's going to happen is going to call it on you. So you have to be extra careful if you really want to take advantage of those moves.
Yeah, you need to exaggerate where your pivot point is and showcase the lack of travel. Sweeney, definitely a man that likes to play a bit of give go.
That looked like a solid pivot point down to me.
Yeah, that was not a travel. But the same pass goes up, and now we see a shot to Freddie Rogers being pursued by Hermit Slev, but he catches it to take half. Hermit Slev cannot get there. Freddie Rogers, that was the third goal of the game.
Freddie Rogers doing big stuff in the cutting space for the Irish as they take half 8-5 here, commanding lead, Liam. Danish playing really well in this win. Like I said, their throws have been very impressive. Just an errant error here or there, giving the Irish a chance for some breaks. I actually think Denmark's defense has been really good as well. They've managed to give Ireland a lot of pressure, but not able to really capitalize and get a lot of breaks here. It's 8-5 here in this first half, Liam.
Yeah, great stuff from Freddie Rogers. Actually spent some time in Texas last summer playing with the Austin Sol. Him and his mate Sam Murphy went over there. Spent some time with my good mate Bjorn, playing some high-level ultimate in the US. Standing to him here, as we'll have a bit of a halftime break here, folks. Liam Grant alongside Ravi Vasudevan will be back in just a moment's time. Welcome back to this men's division matchup. Ireland in the lead, 8-5 over at Denmark. Been a very tight game so far. The Danes looking to claw back a few points. They'll be coming out on offense, going downwind. Liam Grant alongside Ravi Vasudevan. Ravi, can you give us a little more clarity on this new WFDF rules in regards community players?
Yeah, the community member, which was allowed up until 2019, basically allowed you to put some person on your team that has contributed to your ultimate community and has not lived in the country for at least 2 years and does not have a passport. That rule is completely gone coming 2020. There are some additional things with small communities, which will allow you to add one extra resident non-citizen if you have fewer than, I think, 150 registered players from your gender there. But the community member itself is totally gone. So next year, you have to have lived in the country for at least 20 months prior to the tournament to be a resident non-member.
Good initial cut for Cummins to help Denmark progress down the field. Very active force from Conor Hogan, who was talking to during halftime, and he says that turnover was not his fault, and he was adamant that Mark Fanning do not put him down as turnover. He's saying Luke Doyle had slowed down.
And I think his logic was that he doesn't turn it over. So if he doesn't turn it over and it was turned over, it couldn't have been his fault. That's just...
I like that logic.
That's just logic. I mean, I guess you can't argue with that. You're wondering why he's on the D-line then?
He's got good pulls. And
but if a guy that has never turned it over in his life, I mean, that's the kind of guy you usually want on an O-line.
Yeah, that's me. I never turn it over. Using Conor Hogan's logic anyway. Yeah, a bit of a call going on here. I'm not sure what exactly is being called. I think it might be distance to the mark again. These calls going on maybe slightly longer than I want them to, especially when it seems like a call that's not going to make too much of a difference. I'm inclined to just get on with it, get over, keep the disc where it is.
I would love some hand signals to know exactly what the call is. I think there was, last time there was a pick.
It is a pick being called.
There is no hand signal for you're too far away to stall me. That one's not really brought up.
I think it would count as a mark infraction as a fast count, so you'd have to do the hug. Hand signal, 2 hands flat out, which is
that's marking infraction.
That's the WF hand signal for marking infraction, because that's technically what it is. And
fast count, I guess.
A fast count, yeah. Came up in Irish Nationals. Somebody tried to call on me and say they said I'm too far, and just kept shouting too far, and I didn't think I was, so I just kept counting. And they said there was no call for someone too far, and it's like, yes, there is. It's called fast count. So if you think someone is too far away from you, call fast count. But this game will resume now. Nice high release pass downwill. Magnuson.
Kasper Borson, that's the second time we've seen that high release in this wind. He's really good with that throw. Dangerous weapon here for the Danes.
Yeah, I think going downwind on the force of their own bench, you want to keep those hands high, force them to throw low. And there we see a nice high release lefty, and there's another, I think maybe an injury or a pick. Christy Tinkler holding his foot. I'd say maybe just the Danish player stood on him by accident.
Still a great lefty high release pass there from Magnus Magnuson. Danes really utilizing that downwind strategy of keeping the discs high, and they'll pop down to where you want them.
I think coaches need to actually start coaching that throw. It's something that people think is a silly one. You see it there used again to great effect. A lot of people might do the high release flick, but I think in those shorter distances, an offhand backhand allows you to create more touch. And it's pretty much in all top players' arsenals at this stage. As you see, Cummins again. Oh, and there's the turnover.
Again, not able to find Svarka. The Danes doing so well with their throws, but it's miscommunications and slight errors that are hurting them. Ireland not forcing them into as many passes as the Danes are, but though the Danish defense forces Ireland into so many passes, Ireland holding on to it, but Conor Hogan trying to get it all done in one. I think someone got a piece of it. That one's going to get eaten up by the Danes.
Yeah, I wonder how he's going to argue that one. It's not his turnover.
I'm pretty sure that one was Conor Hogan's turnover, but then again, he doesn't turn it over.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
I like that look, but just a tip in the lane prevents the hook from getting there, and Denmark wastes no time in pushing downwind. Good give-go action leads to a nice, oh, looks like there's going to be a goal just on that sideline, trying to toe the line and catch it at the same time, unable to get that one in. But I love this quick give-go cut. You see, the Irishman thinks about doing the switch and probably should have in that situation.
I don't know if he lost it looking at his feet there, trying to keep it in the line. Looked like it was going to be quite an easy catch.
And Ireland swinging inside our end zone. Conor Hogan calling a timeout inside his own end zone.
Does he call timeouts?
He does, yeah.
Okay. So I can't use that logic to say that he didn't call that timeout, but it doesn't work there here. So long point here to start off this first half, Liam. 8-5, but Denmark not able to punch it in. The Irish D-line getting a couple turns on them. As now they realize if they can match up, get a nice break here to start this half, that'll put the Danes in a very difficult position to come back. 9-5 and 8-6 are two very different score lines.
So Conor Hogan, one of the few players I think on this team that actually represented Ireland men's team back in 2011 in Maribor at this event. Was maybe 18, 19 years old at the time, so has a wealth of experience. And we made picks before this tournament, Ravi. I'm wondering, has your picks changed at all? If you could do your picks again for the make semifinals, finals, looking at your bracket, who are you now looking at?
So let's go a little earlier. We got some time here in this timeout, so look at both of our brackets. I had in quarters Germany versus Latvia, Germany taking that one. There I think I maybe already have a change where Denmark and Latvia had in pre-quarters. I think I actually favor Denmark to take that one now instead of Latvia. So Germany, Denmark, it would still be Germany in semis. Italy, France, that's actually maybe not going to happen because Italy is not in power pools. So that's going to be, they're going to be somewhere else. I think they actually might take that Latvian spot in that lower pool. So it might be Italy's going to play Germany in quarters, I think is how it lines up right now. Assuming Germany win their power pool. So if you have to pick one of Italy or Germany to make semis, I think I'm going to favor Germany from what I've seen. So that would put me as Italy out. If Italy's out, then it's going to be 2MF. There's a lot to think about here, Liam. You really put me on the spot with this bracket conversation. So I think if it's only one between Germany and Italy, there's going to be some shakeups. I do think Ireland looked pretty good here. Probably favor them to make semis. Maybe Russia. Maybe Russia's going to keep things going.
Yeah, I was thinking that was maybe someone that might have made it into semi-final picks. You had Switzerland, who have lost to France already.
France also looking very good, very strong this tournament, having confident wins over Switzerland and over Finland. Haven't really touched some of the top teams yet, but they, I think, have due a shot at making semis as well. I could see them pushing this Irish team. A lot of talent on that French side.
Christy Tinkler with the disc in coffin corner, throws it over the top. That hammer going to no one, unfortunately. A very difficult place to be.
I think that's the first time we've seen a big over-the-top shot from the Irish, not working out like it has for the Danes.
Cummins looking for the reset. Orison. Sverke. Going backwards here, the Danish side. In fairness, both defenses have been exceptional in this game. Mostly just containing, like looking at this game, there's often not many options, and I don't know where this was going.
Did the Irish mark get a piece of it, or did this just come out all wobbly? Conor Hogan with another pass. Two Danish there. You think Conor's going to give himself credit for that turnover as well?
Nope.
That was receiver error?
I'm not sure if it was a call here. I think it might be injury called by Enda Keller. I don't think it was a foul.
Based on the physicality that the Irish play, I would be very shocked to see them call a foul on this type of play.
We do see the WFF hand signal for a turnover. So I think it's probably just maybe an injury, or he needed a second to sell himself.
Here we see the first hammer mistake. Don't know if we're going to get a look at the second. They kind of traded some dodgy hammer looks.
So great defensive play by Denmark. Now the full field to go. Big 30-yard under gainer from Knudsen. To be honest, if I was marking him as well, I'd be forcing him under. Now he's trying the deep shot. Oh, and good positioning by Niall McCartney to prevent the Danish player reeling that one in. Jakobsen, that would have been his fourth goal if he could get there.
5 turnovers so far this point, 3 by the Danes, 2 by the Irish.
I think that's the goal for the Irish right now, is just stop Knudsen and Jakobsen from scoring. They've scored all of the goals for Denmark. Let's see if someone else can try and score.
And I think something else that's working out for them is making this point long. Irish, like you said, don't have strict offensive defensive lines. This is the tight Danish offensive line. And though another hammer doesn't work out, they're making those top players stay out on the field for a long time, which is going to make them less fresh, even though the Danes do manage to hold there.
Now we have a new goal scorer for Denmark, Nicholas Cummins, who's been playing incredibly well, usually grinding out those unders, but Burns own Binchy to the open side.
8-6 now the score. Denmark will be happy to take that one away, but like I said, a team that relies on their top players, getting them all tuckered out, tired out, will make it very difficult for them to cross those players over on the D-line to get those key breaks they're going to need later in this game.
So I've just got sent a photo of Kevin Norton's Irish passport. Fair play, Kevin.
That's just a passport. I don't see a passport photo. That could be anyone's passport.
Yeah, we need to see a photo.
I need to see your passport photo there, Kevin.
Don't know if we'll be able to get that up on stream, but yeah. Yeah, Kevin Norton, a fantastic player, playing with a stacked pony squad, favorites to win US Nationals again this year.
That roster is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think a big loss for this Irish team, particularly on their D-line, lacks a lot of height, which is maybe a little bit of issue for Ireland. Maybe one of the reasons they lost to the Czech Republic in the quarters at Windmill. Maybe one of the reasons they struggled with GB's deep game at Windmill as well. So I know Norton was kind of carrying an injury as well, which he tends to do.
Is Norton in Ireland right now, or is he?
I believe he did not travel to this tournament because he was injured and didn't want to.
So he stayed in New York, you think?
I think he stayed in New York.
He's up rather early. It's 6 in the morning over in New York right now. He's watching the game from home.
I see Podge Sweeney launching it, but I'm guessing there's a call before that disc went up as Stephen Jones did not pursue it.
Seems to be a push-off foul called by Jakob Farbier Pedersen.
Yeah, so this will come back to Podge Sweeney. You know, I was talking to Podge Sweeney about, I think he could be a contender for European Men's Team of the Year. Didn't feature last year, but I'm saying he has to come out in the big game. He's got to be on a semi-finals team in the big moments, making big plays. So this could be his year. He's been fantastic so far in this tournament.
For All Too Old, we are trying to find MVPs and offensive and defensive MVPs for each division here at the EUC. We're not going to take the whole season into account, just this tournament. So we'll see if he can turn the heads of the All Too World staff. A lot of us are kind of sneaking around here. We'll have a great discussion on our Slack later, I'm sure, for what our opinions are on that.
Derek Keller working the under, thinks about the deep shot, holsters it, back to Rogers. Looking for the inside to clear instead with the reset to Sweeney. Struggling to progress downfield here, and there's a foul called on the mark. Coming in at stall one. Sweeney the disc, thinks about the deep shot. He's going to send it to Deavy, who has plenty of time and space, and that is a buttery biscuit, folks. And when you force Podge Sweeney back in, he's going to take that shot every time.
Great stuff there by Podge Sweeney. He's turned my head a little bit here, Liam. We'll see how he fares later on in this tournament, but I think to get, I don't know if we're going to do like an all EUC line, so he wants to really get MVP or OMVP, he's going to have to get pretty far into the bracket, I think. So we'll see if Ireland can back him, maybe some extra motivation for them. They didn't have enough already. Dag Deavy with a lot of scores so far this game.
Yeah, I was also playing with the Irish men's team at the European Beach Ultimate Championships as well.
How did they fare again? You know?
I think they finished 8th. I think they may have lost their quarterfinal to Poland. So So
I
getting
think
one
the
back.
Polish men's team was a bit stronger on beach than they were over here on grass.
So keeping that 3-point cushion. No breaks for Denmark so far in this game.
They have gotten turns. But like you said, Ireland opting to make sure every player can play defense, working out for them here. As though their O-line gives the disc up, they always get it back.
Yeah, well, he turned over twice, the Irish O-line so far. We now see Anderson shooting deep. That one could be on the money. Oh, it's trailing out the back.
Sverka cannot run that one down. So Ireland get a chance to extend their lead. They're up 9-6 right now. I'm sure they would love another bit of cushion here.
Yeah, we saw the last 2 points for this Irish D-line. They were able to get the disc, but they were always picking it up outside the end zone and didn't really have the firepower to work it upwind. We'll see if they go into a zone defense today. It's been working out well for them against the Irish D-line, but definitely some poaches in the lane here.
We see Rob Holland picking up instead of Connor Hogan on this line, which is odd given that Connor Hogan never turns it over.
You're really grilling him for that one, fair play to Robbie.
He told me he could take it, so.
Rob Holland now getting high in the stalk and thinks about the scuba. And again, it's just that him faking the scuba actually created a bit of space for him to get that swing. Costello in a difficult spot. Gets the high lefty backhand to Rob Holland, who made a recent summer transfer to Pelt Ultimate, was playing with Tribe. Lives out in the west of Ireland like myself, quite isolated from the rest of the Ultimate community. And Pelt Ultimate is a safe haven for men of the West.
See there, Jack McNamara catch that with such force. He destroys the disc. They'll need a replacement to keep things going here.
Yeah, Rob Holland, the biggest move in the transfer window, except for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Did he have to pay 300 euros when he transferred out of his team?
No, he did not.
I thought those are how it worked here in European Ultimate. Is that not how that works? Okay. I must
Not
be mistaken.
quite, yeah.
I must be confusing it with something else.
Connor Hogan with a very nice scuba across the field to Owen Binchy. Binchy to Rob Holland, who falls backwards. Interesting way of towing the line there.
Healing the line, I think you would call that. His toes not really playing as much of a role. It's going to be hard for us to judge here as we can't really see the line from our perspective. I believe he's calling himself out.
As you see a great replay from
More
Hansen.
reenactments, more better.
That reminds me of, do you ever carry your laundry down the stairs and drop it and it kind of falls down the steps? That's how I describe how that looked from Rob Holland.
Here we're going to get the replay again. Watch him fall over. I have no clue where the line was, so can't give any call on that myself, but looked hilarious either way.
Looks like it's going to be a contested out call.
Sideline, I imagine it'll also be hard for the sideline to see what happened given that his ass was kind of in the way, falling backwards there. Here we get the wide shot, but still the lines are not really visible. So lots of slow motion. Thank you to ulti.tv, but nothing we can really say about that, I think.
Yeah, I think that one's going to go back. And it's one of those calls where I genuinely think a lot of players don't really know what happens, and you're probably going to lean towards your own side on that one. So it's going to go back to Owen Binchy.
Are you saying humans have confirmation bias in their brains? Is that what you have the audacity to claim here, Liam?
That's what I'm saying.
Even Ultimate players?
Even these incredibly spirited Ultimate players. We see Owen Binchy, one of the most spirited men in Irish Ultimate. Now they get out beyond that zone. Jack Mack to Dylan Ryan, captain of Pelt Ultimate. Played with the Irish mixed team in 2016. Binchy to Jack Mack, who bobbles in, gets it on the second attempt.
to lose his footing there on the turf, but great presence of mind to reel that one in.
Jack Mack, an incredibly athletic player for XVI, goes for the hammer. That one is spicy. You don't know who's going to come down with it. Oh, two Irish players collide. Nobody getting the disc there.
Really hard to read there in that wind. Over the top throws not working out super well for Ireland this game. It's a shame. It looked like they had really good flow. Here we're going to see that. Oh, I thought that was going to be the bobble catch, but instead we got to look at this hammer. And just no one gets the good read on that. I think the Danish player got a little lucky that the two Irish guys collided with each other.
And that's how you throw a hammer, folks. Oh, and that's not how you catch a disc. As Conor Hogan shoots the end zone and gets a great goal. Kieran Costello, second of the game.
That's a pity for the Danes. They couldn't capitalize on that mistake by the Irish on the hammer with a little bit of a drop, and that's been the story of this Danish team so far this game. Playing pretty well, but just making an execution error here or there. That should be a catch 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, just those 3 or 4 unforced errors from Denmark, and Ireland have been clinical in scoring upwind, especially given a short field there. So a commanding lead now, 10-6. About 22 minutes left on the game clock. So if you were a coach of this Danish side, Ravi, what would you be telling them?
Come out in the zone. Try and slow this Irish team down. Even when they're going downwind, I think you should try a zone. Mix it up, try and force them into those over-the-top throws that aren't working. Force them to swing wide, stop the upfield passes. And then it's just about remembering that you can play. Don't make the mistakes we're making here. It's really hard to say anything as a coach to stop you from just having a stone-cold drop. Because obviously, Danish players not trying to drop it. They're trying to catch it, so they know that they made that mistake, but just have to remember that you can play, and what they have to do is figure out a way to stop this Irish O-line. It's going to start with the hold here, though. And I don't know if the Danish player touched that disc or not. If so, he would have to keep it at the back of the end zone, but it appears that it did not have any contact. He'll get it at the front.
Loritz, Hermislev, have a good battle with Niall McCarthy there. He's gone deep now. But foul being called. Loritz and Brennan getting to know each other pretty well.
It's all about making friends here at the European Ultimate Championships, Liam. See behind us the Italian women warming up. I believe they'll be taking on what looks like, is that Belgium? Italy, Belgium. Be the next game on this stream. Stay tuned for that power pool matchup. Yes. Belgium getting the better of Kuzm Schout in the Tom's Tourney semifinal earlier this season. Italy women being a bit stronger than that club team, but pretty similar, I'd have to say.
Clemenson, high stall count. He's forced into a turnover, stops the roll though.
If only he put as much effort into his throws as he did to stop that roll, maybe Denmark could be in a bit of a better position. Conor Hogan, the man who never turns it over, puts it in, and Al McCarthy for another score from the Irish.
Yeah, another break for the Irish. Hammering the nails into this coffin for Denmark. They call it timeout, and I think that's a good idea. The heads are down for the Danish side. Nice high release lefty backhand for Conor Hogan. Getting his second assist of the game.
The Danish have only managed to score 1 point so far this half, the first point out of half. Since then, it's been a hold in 2 straight breaks for the Irish. Danes looking a bit out of sorts. Ireland really clamping down with their lead, capitalizing, but it's been Danish errors that have been turning the disc over. Of course, Irish pressure is helping that out, but Denmark has to steady themselves if they want to compete later in this tournament. I know that their coach said that they don't really have an outcome goal here. They're just trying to do well, but they've had a good start at the tournament, beating out the rest of this quite competitive pool. I think we all thought that maybe the likes of Spain and Poland might be very close to this Danish side, but they took them down with ease. Liam, talk me through this Irish umbrella game we got going on here.
Yeah, this is the Mary Poppins fan club here, meeting in Hungary. I do like it. They put a lot of emphasis on staying cool, getting in the shade, in between points and timeouts.
Ireland not known for its sun. I guess neither is Denmark. You see the two cheers there. 11-6. Yeah, like you said, I don't know what the coach is going to say in that timeout. Just tell them to remember to believe in themselves. Remember all the success they've had. They've beaten this Irish side before by 3 points. They know they can play with them. Athletically, they're step for step. It's not that big of a difference. It's just execution errors with the disc that's harming this Danish side.
So this Danish side have the exact same jersey they wore 4 years ago at the European Ultimate Championships. What's your thoughts on that? Is that they need to keep up with the trends, or is this a timeless classic?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I actually like the Danish jersey. I think if I remember correctly, I can't remember if it was Beaches or one of the tournaments that there was a jersey awards article written by either the Show Game or Ultiworld or something, and I think Denmark won that. They are very good jerseys. I like subtle sublimation. Subtle sublimation, I think, is the key to a good jersey in Ultimate in 2019, and they were ahead of the curve there 4 years ago. If someone's got a really good design, you can change it up, but I like the jerseys. What's your opinion, Liam?
Well, I traded for it 4 years ago and I still have it, which is pretty rare. I probably wear about 4 different Ultimate jerseys, and for some reason, I keep wearing this. I like it as a white jersey, particularly in these hot, sunny days. So that is a real test. The hand block for Kieran Costello.
If you look at the sleeves of some of these Danish jerseys, you can see actually different tournament logos on them. I just saw a WCBU logo. I saw a World's WGC logo, and of course a lot of Gior EUC logos. So some of them keep in a stock of jerseys. Might be environmentally friendly, you know. You don't have to buy new jerseys every season. Only going to play with them a couple tournaments in the year.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that, because if you participate in lots of national teams, it can really affect your pockets, paying out for all these Ultimate gear. The Irish team still yet to receive their shorts. I think it's unlikely they'll be getting shorts before the end of this game as they look to shoot the end zone again. Handsome Niall cannot get there, laying out with his little cocktail sausage fingers, the smallest fingers on this Irish roster.
Is it close, or is he really, really smaller by
Not
like
even
a heavy
close.
margin? It's a heavy
Not even
margin.
close.
You think if he had longer fingers, he would have caught that one?
Most definitely. Have you ever been to a kid's birthday party? You don't eat meat, so you're probably not that familiar with cocktail sausages. But
I mean, I know what they are. I don't eat them.
yeah, well, that's what resembles Niall McCartney's fingers.
Why is Niall McCarthy running onto the field here?
He's replacing Niall for Niall right now. An injury is called.
Is that a rule? You always got to have one Niall on the field? Is that like a...
Yeah. I still think the fastest man in Irish Ultimate is a different Niall McDermott, who does not play anymore. That is a spicy call. There's a foul called. I think Niall McCarthy kind of pulled out of that bid, but ended up crashing into Knudsen anyway.
This is the ugly Niall?
Yeah, so they both started college UL at the same time, and I think it was Darragh Keller who dubbed one of them handsome, one of them ugly. He's a very attractive man.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, and he's very confident as well. So the only player I know who could wear that with pride. And now the deep shot comes from Denmark. This is much better. Rob Howland trying to scamper to get there, but floats all the way into the end zone.
Sverka with a great cut. He'd been overshot a couple times earlier, but he had always been free in all of the cuts he made. This time able to find the disc as Ireland keep things interesting, 11-7.
Yeah, that offensive hold badly needed for Denmark to want to stay in this game. Christopher Sverka. I think Ireland had done a good job in the second half of limiting Jakobsen and Knudsen. You see them getting a lot of unders, but no longer scoring the goals, forcing other people to go deep. And that's what you want from your D-line. Just always try and make the offense do something different.
Can't agree with you more there, Liam. And you can see the effect it's had. They've gotten 2 breaks pretty quickly. That point, they got a turnover. Weren't able to capitalize on it, though. So it's definitely paying off for the Irish as they're up 11-7. The game not over yet. So we are now about 87 minutes in, 13 minutes away from the cap, where we'll finish the point and add 1 unless we get to 15 before then.
Rogers to Sweeney. And we do see a zone from the Danish side.
First time they've thrown a downwind zone in a while, which I think is still a good look. So see if it pays off for them here, or if Ireland are able to work quickly as they pass it out of bounds. Works out for the Danes here, Liam.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done it more, because the only obvious thing which Ireland have struggled in is the overhead shots. And now we see a quick deep shot. Cleary trying to get there in pursuit, and that is the first break of the game. Oliver Clemenson scoring for Denmark.
Great stuff from Clemson. This is the time to get fired up and get back into it. These Danes are not out yet. They're down by 3 now, 11-8, but with the look of that zone, that's the kind of play that energizes your team, Liam. Quick defense into a quick score. Ireland now have their heads down, walking full length of the field away. Set that O-line back out there again.
Yeah, I believe that's the 3rd turnover of the game for the Irish O-line, and the first time that Denmark have been able to capitalize. What are the odds that they're going to come down to the zone now, Ravi?
95%.
I've already lost one bet.
50-1? You had the 50-1 bet that Russia would come back and beat Denmark?
I think that was good odds.
50-1 is pretty good. How much did you owe? 1 beer? $1?
I owe
or
300 foreign ruble skins, or whatever they're called.
Ruble skins.
Still rather confused about the Hungarian currency, as this zone looks to confuse the Irish. Podgwini and Freddie Rogers going to try and move the disc quickly, as will Killian Flynn and Stephen Jones. Travel called. This is the second time where I've not been too sure about the travels. I really don't see that.
Oh, there's no travel there. I know you're biased.
Exceptionally biased.
So I will take my unbiased view here, saying that there's definitely no travel, and there wasn't any on the previous point as well. I'm a handler that likes to do that kind of move, so I'm especially sensitive to it. With diff rules, you just have to keep a point of contact throughout the throwing motion as you're slowing down, and he definitely had a point of contact down that whole time.
Shout out to the most biased commentator in our vocation, Lorcan Murray. I'm sure he's watching at home in Limerick.
Seen him on the chat?
Yeah, he's been talking some big game about Ireland on the chat and wants me to rip on the Pelt boys a bit more. But they haven't really made much mistakes, surprisingly.
It is surprising. Remember, you tried to pick Pelt for Spoon at Bologna Invite. They weren't attending.
Yeah, I do know. I think Pelt Mixed are going to be going to UK Nationals this year. Pelt Men's and Pelt Mixed.
You think that'll hurt Pelt Men's chances for qualifying for EUCF?
No, we always qualify. Going to qualify for the double, perhaps.
Are you playing for either of those teams at the UK Nationals there, Liam?
Maybe a bit of both.
Maybe a bit of both.
I don't know if that's allowed.
Cy Hill doesn't have stricter rules than that. I don't know if he'll allow.
Well, I will take legal action on Cy Hill if he tries to prevent me from participating in 2 divisions.
Do you have to pay 300 euros to transfer from Pelt Open to Pelt Mixed?
You have to pay 600 euros.
600 euros.
One for each team, yeah. It's an expensive sport. We play. Owen Soupy Normster with the disc. We actually keep Pelt caps in the Pelt ranks, so we know how many games. I've played over 200 games for Pelt. I think I'm leading, or maybe the top 6 or 7, but Owen Soupy Normster, who now plays the Rebel for the last 2 years, still one of the has the most caps for Pelt, maybe 210, 215. Top 5 or 6 in terms of games played for Pelt. Leader is a crafty man known as Darren the Grappler Scully, who played at EUC 2015, but not on this team because he's pretty rubbish.
Is he on the mixed team?
Nope. No Pelt men on the mixed team.
Anyone try out?
Not anyone good, anyway. From Pelt, that is. Just to clarify, nobody good from Pelt tried out. I don't think anyone from Pelt tried out. Yeah, the Irish mixed team ended up in a rough group to start off their campaign. I don't think they've picked up a win yet. But this Irish men's team undefeated. Pod Sweeney with some great hurling there.
Nice movement from the Irish right now. Really with quick give and go moves.
Nice high release backhand from Derek Keller to reset the stall count. Let Sweeney do the hard work with the disc. Looking for that quick give go up the line. Pretty much going every second pass now. Sweeney looks for Flinner just outside the end zone, wants to pop it in. Just faking that pop pass. The Salkin gets higher and then he gets the goal. Killian Flynn, great shot to Derek Kelleher.
That was, I think, the best zone offense point I've seen out of Ireland so far. They really worked it quickly, attacked a bit more aggressively, and paid off for them as those give-go moves seem to be a lot of their strength here. 12-8 now the score as Ireland getting closer and closer to winning this pool.
Yeah, a little wobbly disc from Flinner to Derek Keller. Comes from playing hurling. Have you ever seen a hurling match, Ravi?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen a full match.
So one thing to know in the game of hurling, you're holding a hurley, like a big stick, and quite often when you're jumping, you go up and catch with a slitter the ball with your left hand. So you'll often see Derek Keller right-handed, but usually in the air he jumps off his right foot and catches with his left. A skill he would have learned playing hurling.
I think that's a skill that should be taught playing Ultimate.
Yeah, you see some players do it, like catching this in the air, their off end, want to jump off their maybe stronger foot. I think Conor Hogan actually does it quite a lot as well. Usually tries to jump in sky with his left hand. I never do it, even though I'm actually naturally left-handed, but I like to catch with my right hand in the air. Not that I jump.
Well, if you don't jump with either leg, it doesn't make that much of a difference, does it?
No, it does not.
I think there was, when I was on the bus back with the Irish lads, there was some flute going on from Enda Kelleher, then a lot of chants of Enda Kelleher, Best Kelleher, and then there were some parts of the Irish team that seemed to disagree in a very loud, and some parts of the Irish team that were agreeing. Can I put you on the spot here?
Who's the best Kelleher?
Who's the best Kelleher?
Gonna have to go with Dara.
Dara
Have to
gets
be it.
Liam's choice for best Kelleher. We'll see what the YouTube chat says about that.
Yeah, maybe we can do a survey, see what people's opinions are. Stephen Jones complimenting my Denmark jersey. Like to root for the underdogs, you know.
I think it's good. You know, you got your bias from your blood. Try and throw your bias for a loop with your jersey, representing both teams here. Luke Kelleher, best Kelleher, we're getting from Ross Andruketti.
Yeah, Ross Andrusetti, one of the top Irish male players as well.
Lumness agreeing with him there. I don't know who Luke Kelleher is.
And now we see a shot go out the side of the field. I'm going to say he's maybe referencing Luke Kelly, famous Irish folk musician. I don't know if he's maybe trying to slide that in there.
Well, he's got support. 2 people so far have said it.
Christy Tinkler, who's going to be playing for Pelt Mixed at UK Nationals, is already committed to that. Loved playing mixed so much for the Irish Nationals.
Brian Henderson, Enda for the win. It's fun to engage with this YouTube chat. We gotta do that more often.
Nice inside shot from Denmark to get momentum going. Jakobsen. Pointing to space. Oh, and another bobble, but reeled in this time. Kasper Borensen. He's had kind of one bad drop in this game and saves himself from having another. Otherwise, playing fantastically. Borensen getting high in the stall count, goes for a floaty inside flick. This one, oh, it's going to work out. Incredible grab from Knudsen and a great goal from Denmark. A bit of a hook and hope there, Ravi.
Knudsen putting on a show for the fans and putting on a grab for his team. Denmark reeled it in to make it 12-9. When that disc went up and I saw that pack of players underneath, with the way Ireland's been kind of winning those types of matchups this game, I thought that'd be a sure turn. But Ireland have something else to say about Denmark. Have something else to say about that.
Yeah, I definitely know who the best Knudsen is anyway. There's actually a Ricky Knudsen on the Danish mixed team. He also scarred his teammate there, Jakobsen, who's got a bit of height on him.
And we see Niklas Kommens getting another goal. I think that's his second this game. Two goals, 1 assist for the number 98.
So about 1 minute left on the time clock.
And an update on the most important discussion we have here. P. Moran 17 says Mrs. Kelleher is the best Kelleher by a country mile.
Yeah, the Kelleher clan. I think originally hailing from Leitrim, or some heritage from Leitrim and Clare. But incredibly nice family. Have hosted lots of Frisbee players throughout the years. I've gone to stay with them in North Dublin. As we see, a turnover from the Irish row line. Hasn't been too many of them in this game.
This is a short field opportunity. The wind calming down a little bit as we see this is Lawrence Hermanslev going to pick up the disc for Denmark here.
Our board player is just going to stand over the disc and not pick it up.
That's fine too. Why play when you can not play?
Loritz. Big force backhand. Gets a nice round swing off. They continue towards the break side. Peter Gong. High floaty pass. Oh, that was a big moment for Denmark. Kasper dropping the disc there. And I think you make an argument that the real difference between these two teams is Ireland hasn't made many drops and Denmark has.
Yeah, like I said, I think Denmark's throwing has been great in the wind. That's not been what's stopping them. The drops, main issue here. So Ireland get the disc back as Denmark squander a short field opportunity and what looked like it was going to be a pretty easy goal after that throw went up. Denmark coming out with that zone again, and they don't manage to get the turn there, but definitely causing a lot of pressure on these Irish boys.
Kelleher. Rogers now thinks about the deep shot. He's going to fire one. Gonna have another sky ball. Who's going to win this battle? Oh, and easily done by the big Dane Kasper.
Van der Merwe there getting the disc back after dropping it earlier this point. If you turn it over, you get it back. At least you even things out here.
Yeah, back to even on his plus minus.
Got another travel call here. This time Ireland to Denmark. That's going to be a violation.
Hermanslev. So strange seeing him as kind of a D-line handler when he's usually an O-line cutter, in my experience. I feel they got to score this point, Denmark, if they want to stay with it in touching distance.
We see a few of those O-line players crossing over. Borenson on the field right now for Denmark. They're really clamping things down as they realize it's coming down to the wire.
According to our game clock, time has gone, so we'll be finished the point at 1.
Just got confirmation from the scorekeeper. They don't blow the whistle till after the point's over, I guess. Oh, she blew the whistle, so time is over. Finish this point in ad 1.
Great take in the air. Denmark looking to pop it in. It's Hermitsleb with a big break for Denmark going downwind.
You see there Borenson crossing over and helping Denmark get the break. He's so good with the high release throws. And Hermitsleb, I think, getting his first score on the board.
So it is a game to 13. Ireland with a chance to win now, going downwind on offense.
12-10 game to 13. I hope that Denmark heard that, because it's very important for them to stack their line. If things are coming down to the wire, they're going to need to get 3 points in a row here. Did manage to get this break. That is their second break of the half. But 3 in a row after already getting 2 in a row, so it'll have to have been 5 on the trot if Denmark managed to turn the ship around. Very impressive end to the Danes if they can do that, but I think Irish definitely have the upper hand so far. I do think that zone that Denmark is putting on Ireland is giving them more and more trouble, though, eventually forcing lots of turns. And honestly, I don't understand why they didn't use it earlier.
Yeah, shout out to anyone skiving off work at the moment in Copenhagen, Ireland, or around the world. We appreciate you tuning in. It's likely we're scheduled to see both these teams later on today, so we're getting a double stream. Ireland will be probably playing against Switzerland if they can see out this victory on the fan seat stream.
So the winner of this game will play Switzerland on the stream. The loser will play France on the stream. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now it's 12-10, game to 13. Ireland looking to put things away, give themselves a favorable position in power pools.
Podge with the give go. Sweeney to make sure they don't go out of bounds this time. Last time they got caught up by that sideline, and now a feathery flick to Robbie Brennan, and it's Deed. And as that man again, Oliver Clemenson, has been a standout on the D-line for this Danish side.
See Clemenson, Knudsen, and Van der Merwe showing the height of this Danish team, getting a lot of discs that are high up. Denmark is a pretty tall country overall, showing that advantage they have on the Irish right here.
You know, the neutral support inside me wants this game to get the universe point. The Irish man definitely wants Ireland to steal this one off, because you feel momentum swinging towards the Danish side. They look confident now.
That zone is really giving the Irish trouble, but they'll have to work it up a long way. They've still, a number of passes haven't really been able to move forward yet. But still swinging around, playing very confident handler resets. Looking a lot better are the Danes right now, and there's a bit of a low throw. I think maybe got a piece of it, did the Irish, and now Ireland have another chance to put this game away.
Sweeney to give goes with Rogers, which has been so good for them. Danes not setting up a zone, didn't really have time to.
I don't know if the Danes are the type of country that like to play, some countries like to play zone in the end zone. Some countries opt that's better for match defense. Denmark, I don't know if it's the timing or just the position of the field. They've opted to go man-to-man right here.
Another travel being called. I'm not entirely sure where the travel is, but Ireland can win the game here now. Dara Keller, is he the best Keller? He gets high in the stall count. Well, I don't know if that was the best option, best throw. Robbie Brennan underneath it, and it's Loritz, the Estonian man, keeping Denmark alive in this game.
Giving some points to end of there for the Kelleher battle as Dara throws that one away.
Let's see if he can get it back. And they call a timeout.
That's going to be a bit of a high stall timeout. He didn't call it right away, so Ireland with the chance to put some pressure here. You see the visible frustration there from Stephen Jones. Not liking that throw.
Yeah, looked a bit spooked there, old Derek Keller on that front corner. Wanted to get that around swing, but just couldn't get it off at all. And this is a replay of the supposed travel earlier, or it would be coming later.
There was no travel there, that's for sure. His foot was firmly planted, pivot foot firmly planted.
It's been a tactic of Denmark in this game.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to look at this one and think about their calls on that, because I think it's been unfair. We saw a cheeky travel call by Ireland on Denmark, but we never got the replay. Here's the throw by Kelleher. And Loritz just kind of powered through Stephen Jones there to take position. Really aggressive stuff there from the defensive player. Saves the game for Denmark.
Yeah, this will be coming in with Jakob far by Pedersen.
You think Ireland will opt to try and put a zone on right now? Is their O-line out there?
I would stay with a match defense. I was in charge. Yeah, that flick just not working out for the Danes. I thought that was going to be the opportunity for Ireland to win the game. Probably should have been.
It was the opportunity. They just didn't take it.
Yeah, that is true, Ravi. So I'd say they're going to keep Derek Keller on the mark anyway. It's likely that it could be stall count 5 or 6 or so. So we're now 8 minutes into the time cap. Game 2-13.
Looks like Ireland is deciding to go with match defense here. Derek Kelleher gets the stall count that he had it before the timeout was called.
Forward by, looking to the break side for the reset. Not a lot of options coming his way, getting high in the stall count. And there is Loritz, who's just been outstanding in every sense of the word for the Danish side.
I like that Loritz-Jones matchup. Loritz getting the better of it earlier, and they're bailing out his team as that stall count was mounting.
Call on the field. I think maybe Derek Keller calling pick, but then suggesting he wouldn't have been able to make a defensive play, so just catching up.
Wind picking up more and more here.
As things start to heat up as well in the midday sun. This is to win the group. I thought for a while Denmark were struggling, and this is a hopeful hook again, which they've come down with a lot of people under the disc. Oh, and the Danes come down with it yet again. And that is a big pile up. Robbie Brennan staying on the ground, clean up on aisle 4.
Peter Gange there not happy with the contact he got on the way down. With that type of pass, you're going to expect a little bit of contact here.
Yeah, he looked a bit frustrated with that call, and I'm just thinking, you know, if you're putting a disc up like this, there's 14 men in the field, a lot of them are going to get under it. It's very hard not to be contact somewhere. And Robbie Brennan went flying in that interaction. And it looks like he's going to come off injured.
Peter Gange gonna keep the disc here. Didn't see if Denmark took a sub, but I would hope that they would after this long of a point. Getting a set of fresh legs could be the difference maker to make this an easier score. I do see Bornson is absurdly free right now. Haven't seen Gange do as much big throws so far this game. We'll see if he has that option. He doesn't look for it.
Back with Hermitslev. Clemenson. Oh, and a turnover. That's such a great game. It's just a low throw to Hermitslev. I think Robbie Brennan's going to be okay. Just had a bit of a knock in the air. Just wanted to get off the field and rest himself. Sweeney to Kelleher. He's going to take on the deep shot. And it's to Niall McCarthy. This is to win the game. Ireland top the group. Fantastic performance from them. Kudos to Denmark, never gave up. But Niall McCarthy coming on for an injury sub to win the game.
Derek Kelleher putting himself back in the running for best Kelleher. Ireland win this one 13-10. They will win the group. They will be streamed later on today, I believe, against Switzerland. We'll see another game of Denmark against France. Great game on both sides, but Denmark just making too many mistakes, too many drops, too many throwing errors. Irish being a little more steady, taking this one down for the boys in green.
Yeah, kudos to them. A fantastic performance from the likes of Podge Sweeney, Ferdier Rogers. Dara Keller being very brave with that final throw after turning over once already in that point. Hit Niall McCarthy, his first taste of the O-line, and it is a taste of victory for that man. Any other takeaways from this game, Ravi?
No, I think both teams are very good. I think especially if the wind were to die down, we could see very good stuff out of the Danes. We just had a bit too many mistakes. I think the wind affected them a little more than it affected the Irish. I do think the Irish were struggling with that Danish zone, so teams that are watching this will know that as a weakness for that team. So that's on tape for you, Irish boys. Sorry about that, but I'm sure our fans at home love to know all about this stuff here at European Ultimate Championships. We hope you guys have had a great time with this game. Stick around. We got Italy versus Belgium on this field. Probably another great game on the other field. For Ulti.tv, Fan Seat, and the European Ultimate Championships, I've been Rai Vasudevan.
I've been Liam Grant, and we will you later.
Ulti.tv.